3 weeks before they found the gas leak, the cat started acting strange. She wouldn't stay in the kitchen. Every time they tried to feed her there, she'd eat a few bites and leave. She started sleeping in the hallway instead of her usual spot near the stove. They figured she was just being difficult. Cats are like that, they thought. Then a contractor came to do unrelated work and found a slow leak in the gas line behind the wall. The family asked the contractor, "How long has this been going on?" He said, "Weeks, possibly longer." The cat had been in that kitchen every day. The cat knew before any of them, and they had watched her change her behavior for 3 weeks and attributed it to mood. This is not a ghost story. This is not folklore. This is your cat's sensory system working exactly as it was designed to, and the most common response from owners is to miss it entirely. There are moments your cat acts strange for no reason, stares at a corner of the room, follows you everywhere for days, refuses to enter a room they've always been comfortable in, acts unsettled when nothing visible has changed. Most owners brush it off, but animal behaviorists say your cat may be reacting to something very real and very specific about your home or your health. By the end of this video, you will know the 5 categories of warnings that cats have been documented giving. You will know how to distinguish random cat behavior from behavior that carries a signal. And you will know what to actually do when your cat is trying to tell you something. The first one has saved lives. Part 1. Environmental hazards. What your cat smells that you cannot. A cat's nose contains roughly 200 million olfactory receptors. Humans have about 5 million. This is not a small difference. This is a different sensory world. The implications for what your cat can detect in your home and you cannot, are significant. Carbon monoxide, natural gas, certain molds, chemical off-gassing from building materials or electrical components, these reach concentrations that affect a cat's behavior well before they reach concentrations detectable by human senses or, in some cases, standard household detectors. The behavioral signature of a cat reacting to an environmental hazard is specific. Avoidance of a particular area or room, not the whole home, but one location consistently. Reluctance to eat in a space they have always eaten in, increased time near windows or exterior doors, restlessness that does not resolve with food, attention, or play. The key is consistency and specificity. A cat that randomly avoids a room once is being a cat. A cat that consistently avoids one specific room or area, particularly if this represents a change from their established pattern, is flagging something about that space. The documented cases are not rare. Fire investigators have noted that cats frequently altered their behavior in the days or weeks before fires in homes with detectable pre-ignition chemical signatures. Gas company technicians have reported arriving to find cats that had relocated entirely from the area of the leak. Your cat is not more intelligent than your detector, but they are more sensitive, and they cannot turn off their response or decide to investigate later. When something is wrong in the air of your home, your cat lives in that air continuously. Their behavior is the readout. Part 2. Health signals. When your cat knows something is wrong with you. This is the category that behaviorists were most reluctant to study formally, because the anecdotal evidence was so extensive and so consistent that investigating it rigorously felt either obvious or impossible. The pattern is this. Cats change their behavior specifically toward their primary attachment figure in ways that correlate with the onset of illness, sometimes before symptoms become apparent to the person themselves. The mechanism is the same as the environmental detection. Your cat reads your physiological state continuously: body temperature, biochemical changes in sweat and breath, changes in movement patterns, posture, and the micro-behaviors of daily routine. Research on cats as medical alert animals has documented that ordinary domestic cats, not trained in any way, alter their behavior toward owners before and during seizures, in the days preceding significant illness, and during episodes of dangerously low blood sugar. The specific behaviors vary. Increased proximity, following you more than usual, staying closer than normal. Persistent contact seeking, putting themselves on you repeatedly even when you don't invite it. Unusual vocalization, meowing at you specifically in contexts where they do not normally vocalize. And the most commonly reported, sleeping on or near a specific part of your body. This last one has been the subject of formal study. Cats have been documented repeatedly choosing to sleep on or near areas of the body where illness was later diagnosed, concentrations of cancer cells, sites of infection, locations of developing organ dysfunction. The heat signature differences are measurable. The biochemical markers are detectable by olfaction. Your cat is not psychic. They are reading signals you are producing and cannot perceive yourself. When your cat begins behaving unusually toward you specifically, more clingy, more attentive, persistently vocal, or focused on one area of your body, this is worth paying attention to. Not as a diagnosis, as a prompt to pay attention to yourself. Part 3. Structural warnings. What your cat hears in your walls. Sound. The other sensory channel your cat operates in that humans largely cannot access. The hearing range of a domestic cat extends from 48 Hz to 85 kHz. For reference, humans hear comfortably in the range of 20 Hz to 20 kHz. This means your cat hears a significant portion of the sound spectrum that is completely inaudible to you. Structural problems in homes, water moving through compromised pipes, wood under stress, pests moving in wall cavities, early electrical fault signatures, produce sounds. Sounds in the ranges that your cat can hear and you cannot. The behavioral signature of a cat reacting to structural sound is different from environmental chemical detection. Rather than avoidance, it is often orientation. A cat staring at a specific spot on a wall, returning to the same location repeatedly, tracking something you cannot hear. Putting a paw on a specific surface is frequently a cat responding to sound activity you are not capable of perceiving. Pest control professionals and plumbers have both documented arriving to homes and finding, upon investigation, exactly the kind of problem that would produce sounds in the frequency ranges cats can detect. The cat had been flagging the location for days or weeks. The owner had been logging it as weird cat behavior and moving on. The next time your cat stares at a wall and you feel the urge to dismiss it, consider what sound they might be hearing in a frequency you have never had access to. Part 4. Emotional environment. The warnings you might not want to hear. This one is less about physical hazards and more about the emotional temperature of your home, and it requires a different kind of honesty. Cats are extremely sensitive to human stress hormones, cortisol specifically, which have a measurable olfactory and behavioral signature. A home in which humans are regularly in a state of elevated stress, anxiety, or emotional distress produces a biochemical environment that your cat lives in continuously. They don't have the context you have. They don't know why the cortisol levels are elevated. They don't know what the argument was about, what the financial pressure is, what the health diagnosis means. They know the chemistry, and they respond to it. Behavioral changes associated with a cat detecting chronic elevated stress in their household include increased hiding, reduced appetite, over-grooming, more frequent startle responses, and what behaviorists call furniture-directed anxiety behaviors, scratching, spraying, or displacement activity at consistent locations. When your cat begins showing these signs and nothing in their physical environment has changed, no new animals, no new people, no change in routine that you can identify, the change they are responding to may be in you. This is the warning that is hardest to receive. Because it doesn't point to a gas leak or a pest problem, it points inward. When your cat is anxious and you cannot find an external cause, one of the first questions a veterinary behaviorist will ask is, "How are you doing?" Not your cat. You. Part 5. How to tell the difference. Signal versus cat behavior. Here is the practical piece. Because cats also sometimes stare at walls because they hear something completely mundane. They also sometimes avoid rooms because they had an experience there they didn't enjoy. They also sometimes follow you everywhere because they are in their social seeking phase and want contact. Not every piece of strange cat behavior is a warning. So how do you tell the difference? 3 markers distinguish signal behavior from baseline cat behavior. First, pattern change. A cat doing something they have not done before, or doing something with unusual frequency or intensity in a way that represents a clear departure from their established baseline. Second, specificity. The behavior is directed at a specific location, a specific person, or a specific area of the body, not generalized. Third, persistence. The behavior continues across multiple days or recurs consistently without an obvious trigger. One instance of a cat staring at a corner, probably something mundane, returning to the same corner for 5 consecutive days at similar times with the same posture. This is a pattern worth investigating. The framework is the same one your cat is actually using on you. They are not reacting to one data point. They are detecting a pattern over time and responding when that pattern crosses a threshold. You can use the same framework back. One unusual behavior is a data point. 3 or more data points forming a consistent pattern is a signal. And a signal from an animal with sensory capabilities that significantly exceed your own is worth taking seriously. Think about every time your cat has acted strange and you wrote it off. The unexplained avoidance of a room. The week they followed you everywhere. The time they sat on your chest for 3 days straight. The night they stared at the same corner over and over. What were they detecting? In most cases, probably nothing urgent. Cats do process a lot of sensory information that is completely ordinary. Most strange behavior is exactly that, strange behavior. But not all of it. And the thing is, your cat cannot tell you which category you're in. They cannot say, "This one is important, pay attention to this one." They can only do what they have always done. React honestly to the information their senses give them, every single time, without editing, without filtering, without deciding it's not worth your attention. Your cat has been in your home every day, reading the air and the sounds and your body and the emotional temperature of every room, running a continuous, involuntary, perfectly faithful report, and sending it to you in the only format they have, behavior, whether you read it or not. The question has never been whether your cat is paying attention. The question is whether you are. Tag someone who has had a cat act strange before something turned out to be wrong. Tell them, "The cat knew, and someone should have been paying attention." If this changed how you watch your cat, hit subscribe. Every week we go deeper into what your cat is reading, detecting, and trying to communicate, and how to be the kind of owner who actually receives it. Next week, the 5 things cat owners do every day that accidentally teach their cat to pull away, and the specific changes that reverse each one. That one is going to be uncomfortable for some people, and worth it for all of them. Drop a comment below. Has your cat ever acted strange before something turned out to be wrong in your home or with your health? I read every single one of these. And share this with someone who has a cat that acts strange sometimes. They might be getting a message they haven't learned to read yet.